Shortly before I became a park ranger at Cape Lookout Park in 1970, we bought some property over in Tillamook County, which later we built a house on where I lived while I was a park ranger. Then, after I got done with being a park ranger, I built another house. And this house is one we're over here working on right now, trying to remodel it. And so we have a few minutes off, and we're going to go down to Cape Lookout Beach and see how it looks all these years later. First, through the sand dunes, which are pretty much stabilized now. At the time I was a park ranger, the wind just blew freely through here and drifted that sand and piled it any place it wanted. But now it's pretty well stabilized, still moves a little, but not too much. Then we wind our way up over the crooked road, over Cape Lookout, and down the other side. It's quite a crooked road over the Cape, but I drove this twice a day when I worked on the days I worked as a park ranger. Right on the very summit of the Cape, there's a fairly good sized parking lot with the Cape Lookout trailhead there where you can walk clear out to the tip of Cape Lookout. And during World War II, there was a B-17 Flying Fortress crashed up there, killing 9 men, with only one surviving. We'll pull into the parking lot and take a look. There's a lot of old memories here for me, and there used to be the wreckage was still there, but I understand now that you really can't find much, if any, of it. And there is a plaque there honoring the men who lost their lives in this airplane. It was flying over on submarine watch and uh, was in some fog and hit a tree on top of the cape. Then down the other side of the cape we move, and this is Anderson's viewpoint, where you used to have a great view of the park and the sand spit, but now the trees have grown up to where you can hardly see it. During the 70s, this offered us a panoramic view of the ocean, and right below it, Steamboat Rock. But now it's not so good, but still the scenery's there, just the trees have grown up. I could really appreciate driving to work with scenery like this twice a day. What a wonderful experience to work at such a great place. The ocean never becomes boring and never looks the same 2 days in a row, and at least the sand spit is still there, and as near as I can tell, the ocean hasn't busted through it into Netart's Bay. There's some fear that recent erosions might cause this, but as of yet it hasn't. A lot of trees have been lost due to the ocean erosion, and there's still plenty of them growing there. The three arch rocks majestically still stand in the background, just as they had in the 1970s. The narrow strip of land called a sand spit or a peninsula stands out 5 miles from Cape Lookout out there, and it's a nice beach. You can walk the whole thing if the weather conditions are right. And when you get down to the end especially, you can look out and see the town of Oceanside perched up on the hill, and the three arch rocks majestically standing at sea. All this from Anderson's viewpoint. We take the narrow little windy road down to where we can see Netart's Bay. Numerous times on my way to work, I've seen deer sneak across the road, and even bear, and one time even a really big mountain lion. We're going right down, and we're going to go past the entrance to Cape Lookout Park and drive on down around Netart's Bay and see what people are doing today out on Netart's Bay. On the hillsides as we go along, there's still scars from a long ago logging operation as we head toward the bay. Down along the shore of the bay, we see there's several boats out there crabbing, and this guy must have something on board that boat that those seagulls sure like, and more boats heading out there to put their crab pots out, hoping they'll catch a nice big pot full of crabs. Up right where the boat ramp is, there's numerous crab floats out where people are crabbing out here today. It must be pretty good in here or something. There's sure a lot of boats there. Maybe Thanksgiving Day has some effect on it too, since this is Thanksgiving Day. Small boats of various different sizes are out there with their crab pots out, trying to catch some of those delicious little crab right out of Netart's Bay, and lots of boat trailers. The old Schooner Restaurant has withstood the test of time and still stands proudly here along the edge of Netart's Bay.
Schooner Restaurant and Lounge. Apparently it's closed.
Looks like it's open to the weather.
Did you want to head?
Back up along Netart's Bay, and this time we're going to go in to Cape Lookout Park, where so many old memories of mine are, although it looks quite a bit different than it did during the 70s when I worked here. First down to the picnic area. The parking lot is still in the same place it was at the time I worked here, and we go down a narrow corridor of trees right in to Cape Lookout Park. I always enjoyed this tree-lined road into the park. It's almost like the trees come together, makes you think you're going through a tunnel. Then up to the stop sign where the flagpole stood right across from the stop sign. Only they've got a sign.
7 a.m. to 9 p.m.
They've got times and a fee to park here, where it never used to be that way. We see the registration booth. Looks like it's in about the same place as always. And then down to the picnic area, which isn't far. We hired a contractor to push a road back in right at the edge of this parking lot so we could drill for a well. He drove back in there and he looked around a little bit and said, "I think Harry is stuck." And Harry sure was stuck. But now you'd never know this. The parking lot is here the same as always. We will park and look around a little, walk around and look around a little bit. First, we see the pay stations here for those who want to pay their $5 a day to park, or you can get seasonal permits for more money. And then the picnic shelter still looks good to us, which we built during the 1970s. And then where you can make reservations and have a family picnic in this shelter, even to this day. And then the Dick Windsor Memorial. This was named after the person that first built Cape Lookout Park. And he was no longer here when I first started, but I'd see him every morning. He'd come down and walk the beach every morning to get his exercise. And we'd chat and talk about things. And then finally he succumbed to cancer. And a few pictures of the park are still here when it was first being built, and a little bit on the history of the area. This was a pretty big summer's job building this concrete and stone memorial, but it paid off. It's still standing and looking good yet to this day, and it looks like it'll be here plenty longer. And there's some actual pictures of Dick Windsor as he was building the park right here where we're staying. We're very fortunate that the sea hasn't got up this far and eroded it. Apparently, we set it back far enough that it's okay for now. Then I see a whole group of shells eroding out of a bank. And I looked at these shells. In the very early days, there was a clam cannery here on the edge of Jackson Creek. And I looked at these shells. They're either that or Indian kitchen middens. And I don't know which. I tried to look and see if there were snails and stuff, which there would be in Indian kitchen middens, but I couldn't see any snail shells, and it looked like it was clam and mussel shells, which very well could have been from that cannery that was located here. I know where there used to be a bunch of shells from the cannery, but all that was right here, and all of that has eroded completely away. So I'm not sure on that. Then we walk back in the woods a little bit and see they've put several little cabins there that you can rent. And out front where there used to be a big restroom, they called it the bathhouse. It's completely eroded away, and just the pipes are sticking out of the bank where the plumbing went to the bathhouse, and some of the water line for the park itself has eroded out, and apparently they've built new ones. The bank has been cut away enough here that it's hardly recognizable, and there are lots of old, they call them fossil tree trunks and roots in this bank if you walk down a ways. And here's where those shells were eroding out, and I'm just not sure which it was. From here, we'll walk up along where the group camp was, and we see more of the shells eroded out, and we can look back and see the waves coming in against Cape Lookout and the beach. And then we go up where the seawall once stood, which is completely eroded away and took a big share of the campground with it. There's a little bridge here, and here's some more of the water lines from the park. There used to be a seawall here. You can see these pictures from the 1970s. And so I brought my welder from home and we welded up a platform and a set of steps to go up the seawall that we could raise and lower as the tide would come in and pose a danger for the steps. But that only lasted a while. Now the entire seawall and half of the A Street in the park is gone now. And we can see the water lines for the park. This was the old one, the rolled plastic pipe, and then the newer one was that larger PVC pipe. I go up and look where the group camp once was, and it's no longer there. They've made an attempt to fix it with some bags of gravel or something, but that only lasted a short while, and again the sea took it away. There are numerous old tree stumps down on the beach, and some of these are thousands of years old that were covered up when the ocean used to be way back during the Ice Age and things. And it's difficult to tell the modern from the fossil tree stumps, but there are a good many of them here, and some of them are sticking out of a bank, so you can rest assured that they were some of the old tree stumps. I walked down the beach a ways, and here's where the sewer grain field was, and it's completely gone. I don't know where they've moved it to now, but here's some of the pipes still sticking out of the beach about 2 miles down the beach. So while I'm here, I'm going to hike on down the beach where there used to be an old Indian village site, and I think it's completely gone. But I'm going to go down and look and see. Everything has changed so much, but I think I recognize the spot where it was, and here's what it looked like during the 1970s. It was about 7 foot of shells stacked up here, and this is where the Native Americans gathered the seashells, chucked them out, and threw them in a pile here. And there was not only shells of all kinds, there was bones from elk and bear and everything else, even some human bones. I didn't see this myself, but someone said somebody found some human skulls in there. And it's not that they'd bury in these shell mounds, it's just there'd be a fight would happen at a fishing hole and someone would lose their head and they'd bring the head home and have it laying around the camp till they got tired of it, and then throw it out with the shells. After seeing there was totally nothing left of the village site, I go down on the beach to finish my hike back to where our car is, which is about 3 or 3.5 miles back, I guess. While walking back, a big sneaker wave came in and caught me, and it was going so much faster than the rest. I tried to run from it, but couldn't run fast enough, and it got me, but good. It almost knocked me over, and the water was knee deep, but fortunately it didn't build up against the bank, so I was all right. This storm seems to be gaining in intensity, and the sand is blowing like crazy now. So it's difficult to walk back. So I'll walk back part of the way, and then when I get to the campground, I'll cut over the bank and walk up the paved streets of the campground. While walking back up the streets, I had time to reflect on some of the great times we had here. Those were posts for the Oregon Coast Trail and glass balls that I used to find frequently down on the beach right after a storm. I walk up the street and see the fragmented remains of Cape Lookout. Without those big trees in the background, it's certainly a different place now. But I'll soon be back to the car, and I gotta get some dry clothes on since my encounter with the ocean, and I'll have to get rid of some of that sand, or else I can save it for the carpet at home. There's some of the old restrooms that were here when I was here. We built that one down along the beach, and there was another one up here a ways that's gone. And the booth, I didn't walk up close to it. I don't know whether it's the same one or not, but it looks to be in the same place. And then back through what was remains of the group camp and back down to the picnic area. And I'll soon be in my car, and we'll get that heater going and I can warm up a little from this chilly storm. Past the old park headquarters and the Cape Lookout sign, and back over the Cape and home. Looks like my remodeling project is still waiting for me. It didn't do itself while I was gone. But this Canada mushroom got riper and riper every day. No matter what I did, it seemed to coast along. And this is one of our very poisonous mushrooms.